Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. I just wanted to do a quick video on a live trade I took this morning, how I decide on when to get in and out of a trade. So I'm just going to share screen in a minute. I've just got one more group to stream into. Just bear with me. A bit slow on Zoom. Right, okay. And that's it. Hello, Mia. Hi. I'm just starting to share the screen. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And I just want to show you how I got in and out, how I decide really to get in and out of a trade. So there were two trades I took today. The first one, which I'm not going to go into in great detail, but I've done 44 pips today. That's just two trades. So this was GBPCAD, and let me just shut down a couple of windows because I want to see if that will make the system go a bit faster. Should have shut them down before really because I'm not doing any more trading today. Just let it load up. And just hold on a minute while I get rid of some of these. That's it. And then we'll just be left with the two I'll just go through with you. So GBPCAD was the Canadian dollar was the first one. Shut some of these down. Okay, there we are. So this was actually a smaller scan than I usually take. So that's why I've marked the lines in yellow, the pitchforks, because I probably will delete it. It's 73 pips, and as you know, I only ever go for 80, but I was a bit short of scans on this one. So I did draw it on, and I thought, well, I'll have an experiment and I'll do a smaller trade. So I took 19 pips on this morning. It did do over 20, but you'll often only get 70 or 80% of your trade. So as you can see, what are we analyzing here? Well, first of all, I've copy and pasted this from the scanner, which we get free as part of our package. I've drawn it on the chart. It was an hourly scan, and you can see it's a buy scan. I then go down to the 15-minute to look at my trade setup. And normally I'm looking for 3 confirmations. So I will only be buying until the median has been hit, which is this solid line in the middle. You can see the 62 moving average still in a strong upward ascendancy for a buy. And look at the power of quarter theory across there. Look at all that stall out across quarter theory. I mean, it's you know, phenomenal. This these you know, the power behind the things that we are given, the tools that we have. So on the 15 minutes, I decided I was going to look at this point here. once the 62 started coming down, I was going to look for the sell. And then I went to the 1 minute for the precise entry. This does not limit me on the pips I take. It does not necessarily mean scalping. It just means that I can work to a 10 pip stop loss, but on GBP pairs, I have to work to a 15 pip stop loss. They can be pretty wild, but they are the pairs where you can catch 50 or 60 pip swings. So I wanted it to cover the pitchfork. That gives me a wall between price protection, a barrier between price and stop loss, taking me out of the trade. And then I could see it was below, I have to come back to 15-minute just to show you quarter theory. So I could see that price had come down below quarter theory. So that was one confirmation, stalled out, and it was dropping below quarter theory. And then I'm looking for it to break and retest the pitchfork, which is a trend line. We all talk about break and retests on our strategies. So then I saw that it was coming down. So I mark it up for my short position with my stop loss and my take profit at 20. That gives me 1 to 2, or in this case 1 to 3, because of it being 15 pip stop loss. So I mark that up, and I always put my 2 lines on, and I put an alert on 10 pips. So I know when I hear the beep that I usually turn my stop loss to stop profit. But I have found at this time of year that if I put too tight a stop profit in, it takes me out of the trade, not just on GBP pairs, I've had it on others. So I think that could be the time of year. You have to be quite careful to allow your trade enough room to breathe. So given those confirmations on quarter theory and the pitchfork, I then waited for it to break and retest that pitchfork by 10 pips. And it did that there. In fact, it went down 24. So I don't want to get into the trade when I see it doing that line down, because I know it's got to come back and do a retest. Otherwise, you're just sitting in drawdown, which obviously is not, not very good, not on the nerves. So I got into the trade once the 62 had crossed the 15-minute moving average, and you can see that I got in here. So that was fine by me. I'm covering the pitchfork. I would have liked to have perhaps been a little bit higher up on getting into it, but I wasn't. But I did get 19 pips. Now, if you had looked at this and you'd said to yourself, well, I'm not sure, that I want to get in there, maybe I'll wait till down here. But the problem with that is you've then got to decide where you're going to get out of the trade. Now, I'm aiming for 20 pips. My daily target's 25, and that would have given me the whole daily target, but I don't know it's going to go down there. And it can be quite difficult to hold your nerve and keep in these trades. So that would have been another 18 pips. So there was about 40 pips there in that move, and you can see it broke and retested there. So you could have got in once you see it again coming under that 62 and under the pitchfork and the break and retest, and that would have been down. And then look at that next level that you're aiming for. That's the important thing. You've got 20 pips there. So don't think, you can see how it stalled out there, came back up, stalled out again, stalled out again, stalled out again. Now, normally that will say to me that price is ready because of all those rejections on quarter theory and the pitchfork, that therefore it's turning to the buy. So the problem is that the one thing you can't legislate on, and if I turn on my trading sessions, you can see here, sorry. You can see here that we're in New York session, so it stalled out just before New York, and then price suddenly dropped just now, didn't it? So that's when I was in the GBPUSD sell, and then it's hit this pitchfork, hit the pitchfork, hit the pitchfork, and it's come back up to quarter theory. So that's how you use your levels, your confirmations, your lines of support and resistance, and that's the GBPCAD. Now turning to GBPUSD, we were all discussing this last night. I put it here on the 15-minute chart. I posted it in the Ninja Trade Hub. Someone said they wanted the scan. These were the Harmonic Scanner prices. I don't follow the prices off Harmonic Scanner. I use my own confirmations, stick to the strategy, So Some people got in the trade up here, perfectly fine if that's what you want to do. For me, I didn't want to get in the trade until it had come through this pitchfork line here. So what I did was mark up a fib, that's a 15-minute channel. And then some people got in the trade last night. I would never have done that because GBP USD is going to move in London session, the yellow here, or the blue session, New York. It's not going to move in Asian session. This is Asian session, covered by that grey dead patch of about midnight till 2 in the morning, 3 when Tokyo opens. It's 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock UK time, 2 o'clock my time. So that's all Tokyo, this sludge here. Why would you want to sit in a trade when it's not going to move? Then I come down to so I'd drawn it up. I knew what I wanted to do with it. I was simply watching it this morning when we were on our live trading. Come down to the 1 minute to look at my entry. I put a fib on it up here, down to there at the time, because that's all I had to. This hadn't been drawn by then, and then I was waiting for this purple line that I'd drawn, which is a break and a retest of my pitchfork. It did that at open of London. Here you can see the yellow is London session, and then yes, it did swing back up. It tested the 15-minute EMA. It came back down to the pitchfork. I think I did get in after that. I probably got in round about this time here, and it did its thing. Now there's my 10 pip line, rejection, rejection, rejection. Now I didn't panic and get out of the trade at that point. I let it swing back to the 15 minutes. I knew it was retracing to test that, come back down to the 10 pips. It's trying another attempt to break down. Remember, this is a sell scan. We've had it off the Harmonic Scanner, highly accurate. So it came back up. It's following, stalling out on the 62. Then sure enough, as New York opens, now normally GBP will move at open of London or in London session. I don't know why it's been moving in New York session. That's been happening a lot. I know this one's paired to the USD, but you can see that sudden drop there. I was already in the trade. I hadn't got out of it at the 10 pips, and sure enough, it hit the 61.8 fib. Right on my quarter theory. I must admit I got out at 25 pips when it just started stalling out, and it came down to the 30 pips. So once you've learnt your strategy and you put your confirmations on, this line was me looking at the 1 minute trend, and I'm looking for a break and a retest of the 1 minute trend, which it did there. Then that's how you read a chart, and that's how you decide. And you should always decide when you're getting in a trade how you're going to get out of a trade, how many pips you want out of it, what the level is you're aiming at, and how far you can think it can go. Now, not necessarily at this time of year, but if this had been a strong momentum trade and had been carrying on with a 62 still pointing downwards, I'll just draw a brush mark for you. Instead of it curling up like that, if this 62 had still been coming down like this, and then stalled out here or done that, then I know the next level for my take profit I would be aiming for would be the pitchfork at 1.29768 or thereabouts. I also put on this, and I do use this a lot when I'm already in a trade, just for exits, which is this Hull MTFA, multi-time frame analysis. So the background, I'm on the 1 minute chart. It's showing me red and green what price is doing, and then the bands at the back of the 15 minute. So it's at the moment saying over 15-minute time frame, it's still red, but you can see here it's just turning to green now, showing me that it is indeed heading up, back up. So that's really all I wanted to show you, was how I decide to get in and out of a trade, how important it is to look at your risk to reward, look at your confirmations, and get into a trade deciding how you're going to get out of a trade. So have that in your mind, otherwise you're just kind of fumbling around in the dark. So that is all, and I can see that I can hear rather that my guests have arrived. That's my bricks and mortar business, my letting apartments. I've got some guests in. So thanks very much for joining me. I hope you found that helpful, and bye for now.